In the cross of Christ I glory, towering o'er the wrecks of time. All the light of sacred story gathers around that head sublime. For Christians, the cross is more than just a symbol. It's the central part of the most important event in history. And yet, after centuries of appearing in churches on jewelry and artwork, some fear the cross is being forgotten.
Christianity's most important symbol, the cross, is disappearing from our nation's churches inside and out. Rod Parsley, pastor and best-selling author, says the scene that took place at Calvary is too gruesome for many to think about, and churches are replacing the cross with more pleasant and less demanding images. In his latest book, The Cross, Rod rediscovers the beauty of God's sacrifice and points a crossless generation back to Calvary.
When I read this book, it's almost lyrical, it's almost poetic, and it's called The Cross. It's written by Rod Parsley, and Pastor Parsley is here with us. And Rod, it's good to have you back on the set.
Thank you, Dr. Rod.
Thank you.
What a joy to be here with you.
And
thank you for your wonderful endorsement of the book.
Well, it was beautiful. Well, there's something about the cross that really moved you. You want to tell about your own personal experience?
Well, thank you for that. You know, I was just sharing with your co-host, who's from West Virginia, and I said, you know, they call West Virginia almost heaven. She said, why? I said, because it's next door to Kentucky. No, Kentucky, that's what she said. My family is actually from eastern Kentucky, at the confluence or the crossroads or the intersection of the Tug River and the Levice River, where they form the big Sandy River and run into the Ohio.
Yeah.
And right there in little clapboard board church buildings, Pat, from the time I can remember having a memory, I was in those wooden church pews logging a whole lot of hours.
Yeah.
And I was mesmerized, not only by the singing where the cross was central, but the preaching where the cross was central, and the testimonies where the cross was central. And I would sit and gaze out those stained glass windows. Each one of them depicted a biblical scene, but every one of them had the cross superimposed over them. And I began to literally view the world outside through the image of the cross. And I've done that now. I'm in my 40th year of full-time ministry, preaching the blood-stained banner, the cross of Jesus Christ.
It is the center. It's the center of all history, isn't it?
It is. There is no Christianity without a cross. It is the hallmark of true evangelism. But it seems that in 21st century America, the cross has gone missing. I think largely due to misunderstanding by the Supreme Court of separation of church and state, where most of our literal physical crosses have been forcibly removed from our public places, where they've been displayed for decades, prominently and proudly, and without harm, harmlessly for decades. But now we're told we're a post-Christian nation. And the last thing anyone in polite society would ever want to do is to offend the delicate sensibilities of a skeptic, an atheist, or an agnostic.
That would be terrible.
But I say in the book, you know, surely in our churches, surely there we'll find a bastion where the cross is both treasured and honored and display and proclamation. I would to God that that were the case. In a nation where a cross once topped the steeple of every church building from sea to shining sea, the cross has fallen sharply out of fashion. They say it's so old school. It's so last century. I think it's because the cross, the scene of Calvary, is so ugly. It's grim to look at there.
What does the cross say to you in terms of what it means in Christianity?
Well, it is the central, it must be, Pat, the central message of Christianity. It is the irrefutable evidence of God's unconditional holiness, of his supreme love for humanity. Some look at the cross, and 1 Corinthians 1:23 says that the cross is a stumbling block to the Jew, to the religious, to those who think they can do it on their own. They stumble over the cross because the cross says it's the cross and nothing. It's the cross or nothing.
That's what Paul said. He said, I'm determined among you to preach Jesus Christ and crucified, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, he got to Athens and he played head games with him, and he lost. He didn't do any good. He got to Corinth and he said, it's the cross, period.
It's the cross. I think that's where we are. Because, again, 1 Corinthians 1:23, he goes on and says, but to the Greek, it's foolishness.
Yes.
And so to the intellectual mind, and thank God for intellect. We have a whole lot of preachers that would do really well to come to Regent and learn to read at least. But the cross is the central message of Christianity. But we have a paradox, because it seems while the cross is disappearing from our cityscapes and our church platforms, at the same time, crosses seem to be everywhere. They dangle from the necks of godless, gyrating pop stars. Professional athletes brand and tattoo their bodies with every variation and size of a cross imaginable. But if a cross makes an appearance at a high school play or at a graduation ceremony at a public school, it'll cause 3 fainting spells and 5 ACLU lawsuits.
That's right.
We found a way to trivialize and marginalize the most significant emblem to ever emerge from the rushing river of history. A crossless generation has to be pointed back to Calvary.
Well, I want to tell you, this book, is the book out now?
It is. It's in bookstores and at our website at rodparsley.com, but it's in all the bookstores across America right now.
I guess it's on Amazon. Everything
It
is
is.
Amazon. It's called The Cross. This is a fabulous book, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately. But you've touched really the heart of Christianity here.
I've had such a good time doing it, Pat.
Yeah.
I did the trilogy of books, Silent No More, Culturally Incorrect, and then Living on Our Heads, where I spoke more from a pastoral perspective to the culture. But on this one, it was a 2-year labor of love, really.
Yeah.
And I went back into my history, and I said, what is the most significant emblem of my Christianity? What says it all? The cross.
Well, brother, I appreciate this book, and ladies and gentlemen, I commend it to you. It is like reading poetry. It is very eloquent and very moving. Well, we leave you today with today's Power Minute from Psalm 99. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in the time of trouble. And those who know your name will put their trust in you. For you, Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Our thanks to Pastor Rod Parsley for being here, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye. God bless you.